That clicking noise you heard just now was the game's music audio screwing up, and you can sometimes bring it back by fooling around with the options, but it generally goes back out. This is not an issue with me or with my PlayStation. This is also something that just happens with the game, and the audio went back out again. It's another really unfortunate thing that there's no excuse for. Sometimes it doesn't happen at all, sometimes it does happen, and I can't tell why. But let's try to ignore that unfortunate happening and just pretend this stage doesn't have music. We already got more than a fair share of points from the very first encounter, but there's another point multiplier in these bushes, and it's best to just use it on these ghosts. There's really nothing else worthwhile down here besides these two. There is one more bush ghost all the way over here, but you're not going to reach it before your point multiplier runs out. When we push down this log, sometimes a rainbow ghost appears, and sometimes it drops another point multiplier. It seems to be randomly decided. If it does drop a point multiplier, which it just so happens to here, the best thing you could possibly do is run way up here further in the level, because there's nothing else down there you could use this on. The only thing to really look out for up here is that these mammoths can interrupt your chain. They have a habit of standing right between you and the next ghost you're trying to chomp. This level's gimmick, more or less, is that it makes heavy use of Rubber Pack's downward slam. I wouldn't say it's very creative use of the downward slam. I'm sure they could have found better things to do with it. But taken at face value, it's still an extra gimmick that the slam has that does not revolve around pounding in bounce pads. Have you noticed the eyes on the mammoths are really close together? That kind of creeps me out. I do like that you don't have to stomp on most of the logs, just near them, and they kind of explode into chunks. It's really satisfying. I do like that there's a lot in this area right here. It's a very busy area. There were these 3 stumps, there were more stumps in the corner, there's fuzzbit, geysers, and mammoths. And also ghosts that we already ate. Hey, you remember this from way back in Pac-Lantis? It came back for all of 3 seconds. I apologize if you can hear the clicking noise of the audio screwing up. Hopefully it will be back for the next level. Hopefully. It really wasn't necessary to put a mammoth down here. He doesn't really do anything. But I guess it makes the area more busy than it would be otherwise. Makes it seem less barren. We've already fought this guy a ton of times. There's really no reason to be concerned with him anymore. Maybe we should be concerned about that mob of ghosts surrounding us, though. Nope, never mind, they just kind of froze for a second.
Let's get out of here.
I really like this last collectible. It's right there where the geyser is. But if you hover into the geyser while it's going off, you obviously get pushed away. But you can't hover over there right after the geyser goes down, or else it'll come back up again by the time you reach it. So you have to time yourself very well. I really like this level for a lot of reasons, but first things first. This area right here shows just how far the red ghost can teleport. There's basically no limit, height-wise. But this is the first level where it felt like they designed the geography specifically for use with Granite Pack. There's a lot of slopes, there's a lot of bowls, and there are these bumpers that function like they would in pinball. It's just really fun. If I do have a complaint, it's that hitting the bumpers does not provide you with a very good reward. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of pellets, but we don't exactly need those for anything. Sorry, had to turn the music back up. I messed with it earlier trying to bring it back, but now that it's back, there's no reason to have it down anymore. This is a very small area to combat these golems. So you have to act fast. Oh.
Cutting it a little close.
There's also these very embarrassingly difficult obstacles. If you think this whole level is going to be all bowls and all skate park mechanics, no. There's some more of the game design we've already seen here too. Just repurposed. And kind of better. Oh, that was embarrassing. These golems are specifically placed to make life as difficult for you as possible. That's not to say they can't be avoided, just that if you're even a little bit reckless, you'll end up flying off the edge. And this is where we leave the bowls and reach an actual pinball table. There are even flippers down there. Hopefully we won't ever have to use them. If you are curious though, the flippers activate by themselves when you get close enough. There's really nothing special about them. I can't believe I got that on my first try. That may look easy, but you have to jump at just the right time to make it work. Thankfully, you can always go back and try it again. And like any good pinball table, there are little extra routes off to the side with more points. This level's design is pretty cute. I like it. In spite of this little place being structured like a bowl, there's nothing to reach right here. We just have to head back. We already have all three collectibles, but I suppose I should show this off over here. It can be very difficult to wedge yourself between the bumpers, especially if you're being stubborn. But after they run out of juice, they don't bounce you around anymore. Believe it or not, there is a way to maximize this point multiplier, in spite of the next one being quite a ways away, and your actual goal being all the way over here. Now, a 3 times point multiplier on these golems is worth 7,500 points a pop, and that's a lot. Do you remember those rotating spike logs that we've seen a few times? They've never been really memorable on their own, but they've been around. Well, this level is pretty much all about them, and it calls them spinners. This is a really slow, really long ride, and it's not boring for me, but oh my god, would it be boring to watch me double jump over these for like 3 minutes straight. So we're gonna speed this up.
To the ship.
And the second half of the level has absolutely nothing to do with spinners at all. There's really only one chance to get the required amount of points, and it's right up here.
See how good you are when you're up against the clock.
It's actually really easy to miss a high score for this level, even if you do get all 3 collectibles.
For that.
There's very few enemies, and the only advice I can really give you is to be very careful of which ghost you chomp. If I didn't get that last big group at the end, we probably wouldn't have made it. In fact, we definitely wouldn't have made it. This challenge area is all about wall bouncing between those crushers that we've seen a few times. I've already wall bounced between these crushers before, back when we first saw them in a challenge. It wasn't necessary then, but it is this time. They always make you wait on these tilting platforms, and they tilt a lot at even the slightest movement. So we're out of the spinner part of Spinner Canyon as a level, and the next part is just a huge maze for Rubber Pack. A maze that mostly revolves around wall bouncing. This is probably as far as the game goes to explore wall bouncing as a mechanic. There is a lot of wall bouncing here is what I'm saying. You have to time yourself really... What am I doing? Oh, trying to avoid letting that happen, right?
Awesome!
You have to time yourself really well because there are many places where you have to wait in between 2 crushers. Also, trying to double jump while wall jumping does give you some extra distance, but it has a very high chance of making you unstick after you land on the next wall.
Very tasty.
I think those might have been the last enemies for the level.
Excellent.
I really approve of this maze. It's more open than the other areas we've seen where we use the wall bounce.
Awesome!
And it's a lot more difficult too, it doesn't just feel like a rehash.
Cool!
As it goes on, they give you less and less solid ground to stand on. and more crushers. It's a really simple kind of progression, but it works. It would be easy to die here if we hadn't collected so many extra health. So yeah, this level's actually really sparse on enemies. It's pretty difficult to get the high score. This is another Granite Pack level, and just like the last one, there are a lot of ramps and slopes involved. I really dig the Granite Pack levels in World 4. To get this collectible, we have to press a jump right at the edge of the ramp, right here. Thankfully, if you mess that up and have to restart the level, it's right at the beginning. It's also very easy to fall off right here. If you keep moving, it's much easier to stay on the logs. When you're lucky enough to get a point multiplier's Granite Pack, you immediately want to seek out golems. Trying to take out ghosts with the point multiplier is a huge waste of time. I wouldn't say this Granite Pack level is as involved as the last one, but it is faster paced. It's also another Pac-Man level. I'm not sure, but I think this might be the third time, maybe the second. For this world, I mean. I know we saw the Pac-Man back in World 1. And at the beginning of this world, I know there's one I'm missing somewhere. You remember these, I like these, but we already know how to deal with them.
I'll just take the Pac-Man from here.
I love how casually he says that. I'll just take the Pac-Man from here. Why not? It's a nice day. This section is extremely hard, and I don't think it's just me. Everyone who plays this seems to have trouble with this particular Pac-Man section. Mostly because of these fire hazards. I've never actually seen anyone get a time bonus. They always seem to reach the end just after time runs out. And I'm no exception to that. That's okay, because regardless of the time bonus, the Pac-Man still gives us a lot of points.
That was exciting.
The last collectible for this level is really hard to miss. It actually would appear to be the main path at first. This platform up here has 3 purple ghosts shooting a wave of bullets at you. And I just kind of ran right into them. But it's also one of the last chances you have to get points.
This isn't safe. That is the spot.
Without the Pac-Man, I doubt you could get the high score for this level. But these guys up here help a lot. We haven't seen them in forever. I actually think we might not have seen them since World 1.
Oh, yeah!